Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a highly requested video and it is about fragrance oils. I had mentioned in a previous video or two about my fragrance oils collection and just kind of wanted to feel out the room and see if you guys were interested, and the amount of responses that I got asking for the fragrance collection and information about oil fragrances was overwhelming. So as you can see behind me, those are some of my fragrance oils, and on the upper shelf there's more. So I'm just gonna kind of do a different angle in filming. I'm gonna pick up my camera and pan across all of them, and then I'll pick out a few and I'll talk to you guys about what they smell like, what the advantages and disadvantages of fragrance oils are. I'll tell you guys about the different brands that I use, and I will also compare side by side to some real fragrances. So I have some oils that I also have in the actual fragrance, and I'll tell you guys how it compares. So I'm gonna walk you through all of my entire oil fragrance collection. And because all the bottles look the same, there's no point of me picking it up and being like, oh, and this is this one, and this is this one. Like, they literally all look the same. So I'm just gonna pan across. Okay, we are gonna start at the bottom here, and I'm gonna just pan across. These are in no particular order, and these ones are from Oil Perfumery. It's a Canadian brand. And yeah, you can see I have all the popular ones. This is kind of the men's corner, and then it's gonna transition sort of into unisex and women's fragrances. And yeah, if you guys see something that you're interested in, just leave a comment down below and ask me what it smells like, how it compares to the real thing, if I don't end up covering it in the rest of the video. Yeah, I got a lot of ouds, a lot of Creeds, a lot of Tom Fords. I'm sure you guys are noticing a lot of really popular names here. And the thing is, I find that oils are a great way to try the actual fragrance before committing to an expensive full bottle of a niche fragrance. And it gives you a really, really good idea of what it would smell like. Here's the upper shelf. So these ones here are from the fragrance shop. And then these ones with the gold lids are from Arabian perfume oils. Yeah, I have a lot of Amouage, Byredo, basically everything. And then in the back, I believe that's from Universal perfumes. I got only a couple. I'll tell you guys about each brand. And the ones on the end here are from the Perfume People, and that's a UK brand. So here they are all again. That little ball there is my cat's catnip ball. Yeah, I can't remove it because he's obsessed with it. So yeah. There were more. I have a bunch of little samples as well that I'll show you guys, but that's basically all of my fragrance oils. So now that you guys have seen my whole oil fragrances collection, let's talk about what's even the point. What's the point of having a fragrance oil when you can just buy the real fragrance? What's the advantage? What's the disadvantage? What do they have to offer? So the reason why I got into oil fragrances, as I've mentioned in previous videos, is because I fell in love with a particular fragrance that just wouldn't last. And that fragrance is wood sage and sea salt. This is my second large bottle of wood sage and sea salt. It does not last. I'm still gonna buy it. Having the oil doesn't necessarily replace having the original fragrance, especially for somebody who is in the fragrance community, who's a fragrance collector like myself and a lot of other fragrance reviewers and just people that are passionate about fragrances. Having a fragrance oil just doesn't replace having the real thing. So that is a disadvantage. It comes in a little bottle like you see. They're handy to take with you, but they're uninteresting. They are just kind of plain. By the way, when I don't store them like this, I store them in little plastic containers that I'm gonna show you in a second. So I store them in containers like this, with little organizers. I have this one you can get them on Amazon. I made the mistake of getting a black one. The problem with this is that you can see dust on it very easily and you can't see the labels of the oils. but these ones are pretty good. The scents inside are what matter. So, okay, let's look at a few popular ones that I've pulled off the shelf. Let's cover the most popular one first and get it out of the way. Aventus, Creed Aventus. I have the oil, it's right here. This smells like a fruity batch of Creed Aventus. It's very sweet, pineapple-y, it's very pleasant, but it's a sweet batch of Creed Aventus. I'm very familiar with the smell against my will. It's around me everywhere I go. So yeah, I have this because it's a popular one, and I bought this in the beginning of my fragrance journey when I was starting to kind of discover all the fragrances. Creed Aventus smells exactly like Creed Aventus. If you guys don't want to spend whatever, $300-400, whatever that it is now for a full bottle of Creed Aventus, and you want to opt for something more affordable, these fragrance oils go for anywhere between 10 Canadian to like 25, 30, depending on the fragrance. I guess the quality of the ingredients that are in there will affect the price. I think this one's like $15 Canadian, and that's from Oil Perfumery. So I have several brands that I'm going to cover. This video is going to have just a lot of information. It's going to be a long one probably, so I'm sorry. You guys might want to get a drink or a snack, but it's going to go on for a long time. I do want to cover just basically everything that I have to tell you guys about fragrance oils, and you guys will be set. Then you can decide if it's worth it or not. So yeah, Creed Aventus is exactly like Creed Aventus. That's out of the way. The next one, Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford. It smells like a chai latte. It smells exactly like Tobacco Vanille from Tom Ford that I've tried many times in Sephora. I've taken samples from Sephora. I don't want to buy a full bottle because I just don't think that I'll get enough wear out of it. So yeah, Tobacco Vanille smells exactly the same. It's very sweet, very honeyed tobacco. It's actually one of the few sweet fragrances that I do really like, but I'm okay with having just the fragrance oil for now. Next, I have Oud Wood. From this brand, I really like them. They tend to really represent the original fragrance quite accurately. So this one, yeah, the dry oud that's in Oud Wood, that dry woodiness, almost herbaceous a little bit. I love this fragrance. It's my favorite. I've tried the oil, and now I want a full bottle, and I will be buying a full bottle of this when I can. So that's the advantage of fragrance oils. The first advantage is that they are very long lasting. So they can either replace or combine with the fragrances that you guys have that don't last very long. For example, a lot of Jo Malone fragrances don't last very long. I love them. I have a lot of them, but they don't last. So combining it with the oil, or if you want, just replacing it with the oil will work. And that's advantage number one. Number two, it's a great way to sample certain fragrances that are rare, that are hard to come by, and you really want to know what it smells like. Sometimes the fragrance oils won't smell 100% accurate to what the original fragrance smells like. For example, by Rideau Bal d'Afrique, I have the oil. It's good, it's close, it's smokier, it's less sweet, less fruity than the original Bal d'Afrique, which I love. This is more masculine leaning. I still like it, but you do get always a very good idea of what the original fragrance smells like. So for that, they're great. They're great for trying out a new scent. For fragrances that are very rare and very expensive, like Ex Nihilo is super hard to find. I love Fleur Narcotique. I have a little tiny bottle of it, and I'm using this so sparingly because I don't want to waste it, and this is the real thing. But I do have the oil that I got from Universal Fragrance Oils. I don't like their bottles at all, and they really can improve their roller balls, but the scent inside is 100% exactly the same. It is exactly Fleur Narcotique. So it's a great way of obtaining a rare or super expensive fragrance that you wouldn't otherwise be able to come by. Getting discontinued fragrances, that's another thing. Sometimes fragrances get discontinued and you can't find them anywhere, and they'll go for like $300 on eBay and you don't even know if it's real. That's the case with Midnight Poison. You just can't get it. There's like a bunch of fake bottles being sold on eBay, and if you haven't tried it, or if you ran out and now you want more of it and you just can't find a bottle, you're left with the alternative of a fragrance oil, which those will always be around. You can always get them. So if you absolutely love a specific scent and you can't acquire it for whatever reason, there's the oil. Now, I do have the Midnight Poison oil. It is amazing. I love it. It's a beautiful rose patchouli. It's dark. It's a gorgeous fragrance that I love to wear. I love the oil version. I got this not too long ago. I never actually got to try the original Midnight Poison because it kind of became scarce before I really got deep into fragrances. So I'd love to smell it and compare how close they got with the oil. But yeah, Midnight Poison as the oil, I really love. In terms of sampling, you can actually get samples of the oil. So I have like a bunch of boxes here, and these all have samples of fragrance oils. Some of them are from the fragrance shop. You can get a sampler, and then they just credit you back the whatever you paid for the sample pack for an actual bottle. So yeah, they come in these little dabber bottles, and you can get any fragrance that they have in a little sampler. Those small dabbers will last you, they advertise 14 days. It really depends how much you apply, but they will definitely last you much longer than a little sample that you would get from a store of an actual fragrance. Those usually last me 2 or 3 wearings, and the fragrance oils, I can easily wear a week, even a second week, and it gives you a really good idea of what the fragrance smells like. So you don't even have to buy a full bottle of the fragrance oil to sample a fragrance. You can just get a little sampler. And yeah, by the way, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this video isn't sponsored at all. This is just me and my collection and what I've learned, and I'm sharing it with you guys. I'm not like partial to any brand. I kind of buy wherever, and whoever has the fragrance that I want to try, I'll just buy that one. Arabian perfume oil, sell it in this, but the thing with them is that if it spills, it takes off the entire label. Their packaging isn't very secure. And so it's happened to me where a fragrance would spill and then everything smells, like the whole package smells, or the label will get washed off, and then like I don't know what half of those are because the label's washed off. So that is a con for fragrance oils for sure. So let's compare some oils that I have to the original fragrance that I have. So I'll pull a few. The first one is going to be Narciso Rodriguez For Her. So I have the original fragrance here, and I have the bottle from Arabian Perfume Oils here. So I applied the oil on here. This is a better representation of, I have the EDT version. This is more of the EDP. The EDT has a little bit of a sharper musk to my nose, and this one is very similar, but it's a softer musk. So it is close, but it's not 100%. It is closer to the pink bottle, the EDP of the Narciso Rodriguez For Her. The next one that I have is Delina. Again, I don't like these bottles. My favorite bottles are the ones from Oil Perfumery that come with a little black lid and kind of have, they're all uniform with the same label. It's nice. And then these ones have no consistency. Every label is labeled differently, so it looks a little bit unprofessional. So I don't like that about the fragrance oils. You can't like, you know, proudly pull them out and use your oil. You kind of have to do it discreetly because it's in this like dinky little bottle. But anyway, the scent inside, Delina smells 100% like Delina. It's 1-to-1. I have a sample of Delina from the Parfums de Marly sample pack. It's exactly the same. Delina longevity is pretty good, like the fragrance on its own, but the fragrance oils will last you an insanely long time. That can work for or against you. With the fragrance oils, they all come in a roller bottle, which makes it very easy for you to control how much you apply. And that's important because they are so easy to over apply. And then you are going to be suffocating yourself and everyone around you. It's happened to me. It's happened to my friends. It's just too much, you know? So you can apply sparingly. If you feel like you need a little bit more, you can always add on. The fragrances do develop a little bit differently. So the top notes, middle notes, and base notes don't develop the same way that the regular fragrance will. I guess the top notes are less so there, and it's more about the middle and the base. So you're going into the dry down faster with the oils, I find. They are all very, very long lasting, with the exception of a few. they will last me a full day, so like 12 hours or more. If it's an oud, it will last days. Like if I don't shower one day, I can smell it. Like I have to shower it off. Sometimes it'll still linger even after that. And yeah, they are very, very potent. So with those, you have to be careful not to overuse, because you can easily overuse them and then you're just gonna be so over that fragrance. The next one I wanna compare is Mon Guerlain. I have the original Mon Guerlain right here, and then I have the fragrance oil here. They are like 99% the same. I think that the oil has a little bit less lavender, but they are basically identical. Like very, very accurate representations of what the actual fragrance is. Again, if you guys are just looking to sample a fragrance and you can't find decants anywhere, the oil will give you a very good idea of what the actual fragrance smells like, and then you can probably determine whether it's full bottle worthy for you or not. The next one I'm comparing is Blackberry and Bay. So that's Jo Malone Blackberry and Bay that I have the original. It actually has pretty decent longevity on me, but then I have the fragrance oil as well. And this one, I remember it not being quite as accurate. Something about the ratios isn't really on with this one, so I much prefer the Jo Malone Blackberry and Bay. Again, you get the idea of what the fragrance is, you understand what it will smell like, but the oil does lack the luxury that the original Jo Malone one has. Yeah, I love the original. It's like the first time that I ever smelled it, I applied it on myself and I thought it smells so expensive. Like I thought, wow, I smell like a really wealthy, put together person, because it just has that minimalistic elegance, you know? But the oil, it smells nice, but it's got something weird in it, something that isn't quite as pretty, to put it bluntly. It's just not as pretty. It's a little bit more sour, I guess. So that one, if you guys are looking at this particular one, I haven't tried other brands, but the oil perfumery rendition of Blackberry and Bay isn't the greatest. And so this one's Jasmine's Marzipan. So I tried this oil and I loved it so much, I went and I bought the actual Jasmine's Marzipan. That's for me what it's about. Like I want to sample the fragrance and then decide if it's full bottle worthy. I don't mind spending a lot of money on a niche expensive fragrance if I really love it. If I don't love it, why would I bother? You know, in that case, I'm okay with having the oil if I'm only going to use it seldomly, or I probably won't even use the oil at all. But anyway, yeah, these ones are 1-to-1. The oil is actually a little bit sweeter. And this one's a little bit more floral, but again, 99% the same. And some of these brands actually have their own fragrances, so their own compositions, not copies of anything. And I have a few here. One of them is called Cairo Meets Sydney, and this has, I believe it has orris root, and it smells quite soapy and nice. I do really like it. It's very musky. It's a very pretty, soft musk. I think they say that there's hazelnut in here, but I can't smell it at all. It's quite soapy and musky, and I do really like it. Then they have musks that are Arabian musks. So there's a few Arabian fragrance oils that I really like. One of them is called Body Musk, and I use this after the shower all the time. It's very, very thick. I don't know if you can see this, but look how thick it is. It applies very sticky, so you have to do it after a shower because it's very, very viscous. And otherwise, if you just apply it on your dry skin, it's just gonna be sticky the whole time. But for some reason, when your skin is wet, it absorbs better, and it smells really nice. It lasts all day. It's a very clean musk, and yeah, I really like this one. It's one of my most favorites from all the fragrance oils that they have. And then another one that they have that caught my attention, this is an impression of Al Haramain, which I haven't tried, and I haven't found this fragrance on Fragrantica or anything. I just kind of blind bought it, and it's called Arabian Dream Nights. And this one's a really kind of a fruity Arabian style fragrance, which I really like. It's also very clean smelling. It's unlike anything else that I've smelled. There must be a little bit of musk in there as well. I don't know what other notes are in there, but it's not a fruity floral. It's got fruits and maybe something that kind of smells like hookah. You know, that fruity tobacco stuff. There's no tobacco in here, but that kind of scent, you know what I mean? Yeah, I really like this one. Those are some of my favorite ones from Oil Perfumery. So if you guys want to check those out, I will be linking everything for you guys down below so you can kind of just do your own research and see what you like and what you want to try out. And I think that Oil Perfumery, you can enter cart 10 and you get 10% off your order. I think. This is not my code. This is just one that I've used before. So try it. I hope it works. And quality-wise, I would say that Arabian perfume oils from all the ones that I've tried are probably the best, but I just don't like their packaging. It's always very inconsistent with the labels. I don't like the gold lids. I don't like their rollers. Very little comes out and it's just kind of, yeah, it's just not great. The best packaging is Oil Perfumery, which are these. It's always consistent. They actually just upgraded their rollers to this. It used to be plastic and then they had a metal one that you could attach instead. Now they've upgraded it to, I'm not sure what this black thing is, but I like their bottles the most. Most of their fragrances are very good, but occasionally they'll have a miss. So far I haven't had any misses with Arabian perfume oils. The other advantage to the oils is that they are very good for layering. So I'll do a separate layering video for you guys. I like to layer with oils and with fragrances. Sometimes I like to layer an oil and a fragrance. And you would apply the oil first, you would let it absorb. The oils are usually stronger, so you want them to absorb into the skin first. Otherwise, they're gonna smother the actual fragrance that you put over top. And you can play with combinations like that. So I love doing that with Jo Malone's. I love doing that with fragrances that have a certain overpowering note. So if there's a specific leather that's very overpowering, some of the oils have a very strong leather. So I'll put that on first and then I'll apply a different fragrance over top. And same thing with oud. You can just play with different layering combinations and it's very easy to do with oils. The other thing with oils is you can apply one oil to one spot, another oil to another spot, or you can actually mix them together. And when you mix them together, it gives you a slightly different effect. So it's fun for experimenting. The other two brands that I order from, so I covered Oil Perfumery, which is the one I use the most, and Arabian Perfume Oils, which I also use. But there are two other brands and it's the Fragrance Shop and they're based in the States. They have very, very good quality oils, but they are significantly more expensive. So with them, I see a point of ordering if there's a specific discontinued fragrance that they can replicate or a very non-long lasting fragrance like Wood Sage and Sea Salt. My favorite oil fragrance is from them and it wasn't even cheap. Like it was, I believe, $70 US. So it's still like, I still have it and it's still lasting me, but it's very specific situations where I would buy from them. And the other one is the Perfume People. Their bottles are very similar to Oil Perfumery. So they're like this. This is Velvet Rose and Oud from Jo Malone. A lot of the ones that I get are Jo Malone ones because they don't last. Wood Sage and Sea Salt. This one you can smell is not as good quality as the Wood Sage and Sea Salt from the Fragrance Shop. Like you can just tell. They're my least favorite. In fact, I don't actually like them very much at all because you can tell whatever they use as their base oil, it's just, it isn't very high quality. You can smell it when you apply to the paper. It like doesn't smell like anything at first and then eventually starts to develop into something, but there's like always an underlying plasticky vibe about it. So yeah. And then if you get a small bottle, instead of getting one like this with a roller, their small bottles are like this with like a little jar, which like, what am I going to do with this? How am I going to apply this? I have to then re-pour them into a different roller bottle that's smaller and it's just a pain. But yeah, I got a few Jo Malone copies from them, ginger and nutmeg. I've never used it. It just didn't smell very good. Red poppy and barley, same thing. And so I find that a lot of the ones that I bought from them was actually kind of a waste because I never actually used them. I feel like I've been rambling on a really long time about these fragrance oils. I think I've pretty much covered everything. If you guys know other good fragrance brands, please comment down below. I mean, oil fragrance brands, comment down below. Let me know what your opinion is on oil fragrances and do you think they're a good idea, bad idea? Let me know your thoughts. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.